is giving a speech today in Georgia, which is going to be allegedly about stopping any reforms of voter integrity. And the scuttlebutt has it that he will use the phrase, it is a domestic threat to try and stop election fraud in America. This means, Congresswoman Greene, after January the 6th, they're not taking their foot off the gas, they're actually doubling down, correct?
Oh, absolutely. This is going to increase. You know, Joe Biden, who has placed unconstitutional mandates through OSHA on employees and companies with employees at 100 or more, he cares so much about vaccine ID that he's made this mandate a huge issue, but yet they want to wipe out voter ID. Like, you should.
I will say that I don't really understand either why the vaccine mandates are necessary, although I have heard that the vaccines are also somehow protective of other people. If that's true, then yes, the mandates should be placed, because the right-wingers are mentally ill and aren't interested in protecting other people. They refuse to be mature and responsible, so mandates are obviously necessary in that case. Even if the vaccines are only self-protective, that doesn't really matter anyway, because the right-wingers are also anti-mask, which do serve the purpose of protecting other people, even if only so effective. Of course, even if not, I don't see any of these right-wingers bringing forward anything to help overcome this pandemic and its mutations. Ivermectin is the only drug they've preached and argued, have even filed a lawsuit against doctors who don't prescribe the fucking stuff. But ivermectin is not only unproven to work, but apparently causes anal bleeding. My question about ivermectin is COVID a worm? Ivermectin is only a treatment anyway, which only helps the person, and will not do anything to overcome the pandemic, if it actually did treat COVID. Why would people need other drugs and chemicals to supplement it, as people call it, throwing the sink at COVID, if ivermectin alone is effective?
A huge issue, but yet they want to wipe out voter ID. You shouldn't be able to show an ID to vote. That's what Democrats want. They want anyone to be able to mail in a ballot without even showing who they are, but yet they want to impose a vaccine ID for people to be able to pursue life, liberty, and happiness.
If any Democrats are against voter ID, those Democrats are fucking idiots. Some would say those Democrats are actually wolves in sheep's clothing. The problems here are, Marjorie, that you are both generalizing the Democrats and neglecting to understand that such Democrats are either idiots or have an agenda, while some of you Republicans are against women voting. So what the fuck are you talking about? Instead of carrying on about Donald's election being stolen, why don't you Republicans focus your energy on this voter ID concept? The problem is that you have personally smeared yourself as a congresswoman by your disturbing behaviors, as a representative of an entire country, a country that is revered as the most powerful in the world. You have zero credibility, Marjorie. Why should anybody trust you right-wing people as you care more about rights and liberties than protecting people from the pandemic? You claim to care so much about rights, liberties, and happiness, yet you want to ban gay marriage, deny transgender their rights, deny women voting, while you strawman your way to oppressing everybody, invoking God into it all, while God is only concerned with repentance of sin, while God gave us free will. If this world is fallen, stop trying to turn this world into your own vision of heaven, which is only your vision of a non-fallen, Christ-like world. If this world is fallen, that means you Christians are also fallen, even if you are saved. If God's way was right, he wouldn't have created Adam and Eve, or Jesus Christ, and wouldn't need hell to punish anybody in for eternity.
You know, things like working a job to provide for their family, going to a restaurant, concert, game, private club, gym to stay healthy and protect themselves from COVID-19. But this is who the Democrats are, and you're absolutely right.
Because jobs are a form of liberty and happiness. While nobody can figure out how to stabilize wages, And then there's those pesky taxes, which you right-wing people just hate. And the inflation, which everybody should be stopping, but nobody fucking does. You are suddenly talking about protection, when the whole idea of the mask is to protect other people, while you've been whining about rights, freedoms in America this whole time. Only now you acknowledge self-protection to argue against the mandates, while you Republicans hypocritically use the pro-choice protest statement, "Our body, our choice," against them to attack the masks. This means you do understand that it's all about protection, while COVID has stripped you of those precious rights. Yeah, those boogeymen Democrats. No, you Republicans are never in the wrong. You're never hypocrites. You are never guilty of double standards. Even if the Democrats do want to scrap voter ID, how the fuck are you Republicans helping things? You are the ones creating the fucking problems.
Right, Sebastian, they're not slowing down with January 6th. They are going to increase this witch hunt, and if you want to...
Why do you want Donald back in office so badly? How was Donald a good president? As for the election being stolen, Donald was the first victim. If he did get robbed, shouldn't you Republicans be more concerned with dealing with the people who did it, instead of angrily arguing with the Democrat voters? That would have been more constructive than yelling at Democrats, calling them names and such, and going on that witch hunt, and rioting the Capitol, don't you think?
No, the place to look and to see their full plan laid out. Go to Mark Elias, go to his Twitter page, the nasty Democrat activist lawyer that loves to meddle in elections, and he's laid it all out with what he
Can you prove this, Marjorie?
wants to do with the 14th Amendment, and it's absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, this is an individual who was the true architect of the election fraud last year, and he wants to use the insurrectionist phrase to prevent President Trump from running again, or from any MAGA politician from being re-elected.
Okay, if that does happen, then 2024 will be the time to deal with that, won't it?
A6 prisoners, I want to mention it while we have you on the line. If you want to support them, God bless you for going to the prison with Louis Gohmert, with Paul Gosar, with Matt Gaetz, but please make a contribution to these individuals because they are suffering and they need your support. It's patriotfreedomproject.com. That's patriotfreedomproject.com. Please make a donation today to the January 6 detainees. That's patriotprojectfreedom.com.
How are those January 6th detainees prisoners?
Let's just do a hypothetical. Let's say that the state houses do their job. We can replicate what happened in Virginia, prevent wide-scale voter fraud, and win the elections and shellac the Democrats in the midterms.
Well, the problem is that none of you have proven that any voter fraud happened this time around. January 6th and boogeymanizing the Democratic Party both dissolved all Republican credibility. You Republicans do nothing but behave like rebellious teenagers. I'm not saying all Democrats are good, because they're also dipshits, but you Republicans are just fucking pathetic.
They have a crisis of confidence, and then somebody has to reform them from the inside to make them less radical. My question to you is, and you're on the inside,
Define radical, and how are those Democrats so? Judging from my observation, the Democrats are just a party full of whiny fucking losers who cry about everything you Republicans do, as they take all of your fucking corruption up the ass.
and you're in the sausage factory on Capitol Hill. I don't see any rational Democrats. I mean, you don't have to like Bill Clinton, but he wasn't a crazy, and way back in the 90s, he reined in the crazies. In your offline discussions with anybody who has the letter D behind their name, Marjorie, are any of them normal or prepared to stand up to the crazies?
No.
What crazies are you referring to, Sebastian?
On these radical Democrats. And you know what they're doing really with this Mark Elias plan to disqualify Republican members of Congress and ultimately President Trump is really, they're planning an insurrection of the elections of 2022. So it's election insurrection that the Democrats want, and that's what they're doing with this voting rights bill, and that's what they're planning to do through the January 6th committee. But no, we don't see any rational Democrats looking to, uphold their oath.
And how are they crazy?
Well,
Who are those radical Democrats exactly? If you were referring to Joe Manchin and Sinema, those sociopaths are hardly Democrats, but wolves in sheep's clothing. What do you think is rational, Marjorie? How is the Capitol storming rational? How is rebellion against masks and vaccines rational? How is the propaganda against those vaccines rational, Marjorie?